Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Fundamentalist Fails. It's Friday for me. Friday is my favorite day of the week. I get to watch some real fail with y'all, and I'm so happy to see you. It is going to be amazing because I found that Hovind I won't say greater, Hovind the Elder is on Rumble up to his usual stick, and it is just glorious to watch. It is absolutely glorious to watch. So Friday, I love Fridays because we get to do the fundamentalists, and there's nobody worse than Hovind. Now, I was having problems with my downloading program, so I do apologize. It kind of I don't know whether it because it's Rumble, maybe because Rumble sucks. Rumble absolutely sucks. So it just had a lot of troubles downloading it, so I couldn't actually do that. But I'll try restarting it. But I think that yeah, it kind of is having all kinds of problems and only is loading the sound. Oh wow, okay, we're starting off. We're starting off strong. Stop the stupidity with 5 readerships. Thank you so much, STS, and we're going to bring on the stupidity. It should stop, but if we can't stop it, the best thing to do is laugh at it. Yeah, I think that's a good solution. But thank you so much. That's awesome. That goes out to. Wow, this is too early for me to do a voice for this, but I will do my best. Just bear with me. I need some coffee. I need some coffee before I start. Hold on. Coffee. And that goes out to Secular Rarity, Blackest Dawn, Martino, Berto, Kip, Davis, who has never written a book, and that it's always a lie that he has. Love Kip. Kip's awesome. Kiwi, Burb. Hang on, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th one? Hang on a second. I'm being lied to. We haven't even started, and I'm being lied to. I feel violated. Hold it a second. What the? What? Why is there only that? Hang on. Have I gone crazy? Am I too tired and I can't count? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's definitely. No, that's 5. Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I can't count. I can't count. I definitely can't count. Okay, thank you so much, Stop the Stupidity, and I will try my best to stop the stupidity because that is definitely 5. I thought I was ripped off, but I wasn't. That's okay. That's all right. We'll get underway. We'll get underway. We will somehow do this. We'll somehow do this. So the thing was downloading without picture. It was downloading with sound. So I'm going to have to stream it directly off of the platform, which I hate doing because Rumble sucks. It's terrible. It's awful. It's just garbage. Absolute garbage. But so good to see you out there. Now, if you are, yeah, STS does rock. I agree, Captain Butt. I absolutely agree. I agree with the sentiment. Absolutely. Is that a llama in your picture? Okay, random llama for the win. No, I like it. I like it. I do. I do. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Super jats. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with this man, buckle up. Okay, yeah, in fact, buckle up twice. Okay, because this is one of the weirdest, wackiest, most insane people on the internet. Ken Hovind is a young Earth creationist who is running in what my opinion is a cult out in the middle of, I believe it's Alabama somewhere, Lenox, Alabama. He basically has been known for being willing to debate anybody on evolution. He's actually tangled with some of the greats, like he had a very public feud with Aaron Ra, He's had, at the moment, his feud is with Simon Dan, who I love. Simon Dan. Simon Dan's great. I first discovered Simon Dan looking into flat Earth stuff, but he does other stuff. He does conspiracy things. He does, obviously religious beliefs. He does a lot of different stuff, more just where it contradicts science. So he doesn't get into, Simon doesn't go into the theology or the philosophy of religion and why it's, terrible for us or anything like that. He just does the science and the science only, which is great, which is fantastic. Simon Dan, awesome. But he has sort of, what do you have? He had a Tinfoil Tuesday, fantastic show. Love Simon Dan, awesome. Now, Ken Hovind is, in my opinion, one of the most narcissistic people on the internet. He wants it all about him. He wants it to be like he cannot stand people questioning him personally. It is really obnoxious. I've debated him probably 3 times. Now, I don't debate him again because, number one, he says the same things over and over. And I don't know who can sit there and listen to it ad nauseum, because he is the broken record of the young Earth creator. Even after he's been shown to be wrong, he still is like a broken record. And that his spiel was never his originally in the first place. He got it off other people. So he really is just regurgitating the worst talking points, and he thinks that his just his sheer attitude can make it more true. And as he's gotten older, he's gotten worse and worse. He's been through, I think he's working on wife number 4 or 5. It is like his last wife, Cindy, had him, basically he was convicted, as alleged, like he was convicted, as far as I hear it, he was convicted in on a bench by a bench judge of domestic violence. He's an ex-felon, that is a matter of fact. He went to jail for tax fraud and structuring. Structuring is a kind of tax fraud, but he also didn't pay taxes for his employees. Like, he didn't actually send on those taxes to the authorities. He is, in my opinion, still, and definitely used to be, but still is, a tax objector, a sovereign citizen type. And the sovereign citizen videos, they're available. I've got copies. They're him sort of explaining why, the government has no authority over you, and you can, if you capitalize, they capitalize your name, but that's, the usual sovereign citizen stuff. So he is a complete wackadoodle. He is insane. But the fact that he's got a compound of, Sandra was the last one. You're right, Asteroid. So Cindy was the one before that. Sandra was the last one. She apparently has now left as well. And, that apparently, according to Hovind, that's none of his fault. Like, it's always them. It is really bad. He is one of the worst people out there. Sandra seemed pretty nice, kind of. Like, I think that everybody's nicer than him. He's a very, very horrible person. The whole thing about he was involved with a guy called Chris Jones, who he allowed to come to Dinosaur Adventureland, which is his park in Alabama. He did horrible things there. Kent minimized it, obfuscated. I think he's an absolute wreckage of a human being. But he wants to take this moral high ground, which is completely baffling, given that he is a convicted felon, and, has been through multiple wives, all of which say that he's manipulating and, just plain evil. In my opinion, he is. He is absolutely horrible. And, I don't know why people call him a genius and stuff. It's absolutely baffling. But, that he's got a following out there. I don't know why. Because he really just takes advantage of people. his theme park that he calls is actually, as far as I know, it's registered as a homeless shelter, and he gets people in to work on his theme park while not paying them. Like, they're basically given a place to stay and food and things like that, but they're not paid at all. And so, like, don't get me wrong, it's great to operate a homeless shelter, but I feel like he's taking advantage of people. And so, you know, I think I went through with, I can't remember who it was. I went through with somebody and picked apart, used the, one of the ways you can sort of, all of the things for the byte model, and check through. Actually, believe it was Mark Stoney. I did a episode on it, went through, using the byte model, which is a model created by an Australian. I can't remember the Australian's name, but it basically lists a whole bunch of stuff. Stephen Hassan, yes, Stephen Hassan, to evaluate whether something is a cult or you know, a high control religion that could be a cult, and he ticked so many boxes. Now, if you're unaware, Mark Stoney was at one point kind of not running the place, but he was definitely one of the people who was very active in keeping the place going. He would talk to people, get, you know, solve their problems, organize people, organize work to be done. He really was in the leadership of Dinosaur Adventureland. And look, Hovind has continued to lie about him and sort of make stuff up about him. He claimed that Mark Stoney was thrown out of the military. He wasn't. He had an honourable discharge, and he's got the papers to prove it. Hovind is a liar. He lies all the time, like all the time. And it is baffling to see why so many people believe him, given his history of, in my opinion, just flagrantly lying about stuff. That one with Mark Stoney, where he basically made up all this stuff about him, was egregious for how bad it was. Talking to Mark Stoney, you know, and getting his honest answers about what was going on at Dinosaur Adventureland, it's my opinion that that does fall within the thing of a cult. So this is who you're dealing with. And like most very shallow people, he cannot stand to be questioned. So when someone of the size, I mean, he doesn't really care about somebody my size. He is kind of a clout chaser. He's a clout chaser, and he, like, when someone the size of Simon Dan, you know, criticizes him, he can't leave it alone. He absolutely loses the plot, right? So Simon Dan a couple of weeks ago came out with sort of, he made the cringiest response video kind of thing. And I might show a bit of it. I won't show all of it, because definitely go over and see it on Simon Dan's, because it seems to be hilarious. I'll link it on the chat. But I you know, that's the whole video. But I'll just show you a portion of it to show what we're working with here and why he got so mad. Again, I've had problems with my download program, so I'll have to do this directly. That's not what I want. There, that's nice. That's nice. I like it. But I hope you're all well. Okay, buckle up. Now, I do want to give maybe a trigger warning or something, that it is Hovind. Expect stupidity. I'm sorry, stop the stupidity. It won't stop. It won't stop. Expect stupidity. Expect very crazy stuff. So the craziest stuff that I've heard from Hovind is probably, number one, is the lunar bukkake theory. Well, I've just said bukkake. That's my video demonetized, so we can go nuts from here. It's all off the table. Let's go wild, all right? Let's do it. So that is where he claims, this man claims, and just wrap your head around this. I hope it's strapped in and you know, has an airbag for this one. That's where he claims that the craters on the moon were caused by rocks shot from the Earth when the fountains of the deep opened. Yes, he claims that the craters on the moon were caused by a hydraulic railgun on the Earth from the fountains of the deep opening. It is that bad, yes. Yes, it is that bad. So this is Simon Dan's video, right? So he said creationist makes the cringiest response video of 2025. So, look, I was going to mention that one. There's so many of them. The Hovind canopy, and that's a good point, UGT. That's a good point. Basically, the Hovind canopy, and I love this one because it is so emblematic of a creationist trying to find a solution to something and instead making it 10 times worse. So it basically has something called the heat problem. And Erica Gutsick-Gibbon does a fantastic video about this. Basically, it's that if the Earth is 6,000 years old, 6 to 10,000 years old, wherever you want to put it in there, the amount of heat that the Earth would build up through friction on tectonic plates, sort of, grinding against one another. So friction, definitely radiometric decay. So radioactive decay of rocks. So the heat that's put out when, uranium decays and, plutonium decays into lead and things like that. The amount of heat put out by that over that amount of time, over 6 to 10,000 years, would just cook the Earth. It would be a molten ball of rock. In order to combat this very big problem in young Earth creationism, Hovind came up with a canopy, right? He basically says, look, there was a canopy of ice. This is absolutely what he said. There's a canopy of ice around the Earth. During the flood, it broke away or whatever. There is a canopy of ice that broke, that was surrounding the Earth, that kept it cool, right? Now, when you ask, well, hold on a second, how did the plants live? Well, it's transparent, it's ice. Now, if you're familiar with the greenhouse effect, right? So the greenhouse effect isn't just some, fake climate change thing. It's actually how greenhouses work, right? So if you have something transparent that lets in shortwave radiation or light on a, sort of high frequency spectrum, shortwave radiation, and it won't let out long wave radiation, it will actually bake even hotter, because with something solid preventing the heat from getting out while letting light in, that will actually add to the heat exponentially. So Hovind, sarcastically, he says, in his infinite wisdom, comes up with a hypothesis that makes the problem 10 times worse. And it is hilarious to me that is what he came out with. Yahooligan for $2 Canadian. Canada supports your right to bukkake. Thank you, Canada. May your beavers always be wet. I can't believe I said that. How dare you? How dare you? But thank you so much for the support. Really good to see you. Really good to see you, my friend. So yeah, and I guess the other one that I was going to talk about is when I debated him on Noah's Ark. The idea that there was a moon pool in the Ark, that's got to be one of the best. Like, the fact that he's saying that there's a wooden boat with a moon pool is just... It's something. It is something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's one of the theories of all time. One of the theories of all time. You clipped it? Jess. Love your work. I deserve it. Let's face it. Okay. But this is Simon Dan. So this is him talking about atheists of Reddit. I don't think someone like Ken Hovind should be allowed on Reddit. I think there's too much leeway for something to go horribly wrong.
Atheists of Reddit. Why are you atheist? Was the question. What'd they say? because I've studied enough religions to know none of them fit my beliefs. Well, let me translate that for you. None of them fit your lifestyle. So you want a God that tells you you can do what you please. That's what you really want, isn't it? Who's this? Delete it. That's a strange name. Okay.
I'm not sure if he was making a joke or like, you know, I don't know, but like this is what the guy does. This is what the guy does. Basically, in debates, a good friend of mine, Atheist Juniors, debate him. He brings up his lifestyle and everyone. The thing is, he didn't bring up my lifestyle because he knows that I'm happily married. So he sort of wants to say, oh, well, you know, you want to live how you want to live and stuff, and if it doesn't go with what I think, then you're just doing... No, that's not why anyone's doing it. Because it doesn't matter if my lifestyle... If I was a gay man just doing Grindr every day and living how I wanted, I would believe the same thing as I do being happily married. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't. Like, your beliefs, one is independent of the other. So he just likes to, and this is classic Hovind. And I won't play too much of Simon Dan's. I really respect Simon Dan. I think he does fantastic work. You know, I think that it is the cringiest response to go, oh, well, you don't believe in a God because of some personal failing. That, you know, I think you have some personal failing and that's why you don't believe in God. Just terrible. Just terrible. It's right up there with, oh, well, you're just angry at God. Like, no. And it does seem like a huge cope on their part to you know, project these ideas and thoughts into atheist mind to say, hey, you don't believe in God because of some failing of yours. No, because my lifestyle could be completely different and I still would believe the same thing. You could be in a, you know, cis heteronormative relationship. You could be married. You still would believe the same thing. And there's plenty of people that do. So Hovind is kind of a joke, not just because of the whacked out hypothesis and theories that he comes up with, but also because he is a really nasty person, like a really nasty person. So after that, yeah, this is Rumble, which I hate. I hate Rumble. But as I said, my download program is having some problems, so I do apologize for that. Just ignore that. Frigging thing sucks. But we've got it here. We've got the master of disaster, the Blovend of Hovind. We have the terrible man himself. And look, I've also I must admit, I want to practice my Hovind accent. So if you didn't know, I have let's call it a tradition. I have a tradition of dressing up as Hovind for Easter, Christmas, my birthday, anytime there's a celebration, and doing a stream playing games as Hovind. Because, number one, Hovind hates being mocked, which is hilarious because there's just so much to mock about him. Number two, he hates video games. So I get a twofer. I get to actually hassle him on two fronts and hassle him about, you know, hating games and also mocking him as well. Now, before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all the things. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it if you are so kind. It's great to see you all here. And okay, I'm buckled up. I'm ready to go. Oh boy.
17th? No, it's not right. What is the date today?
Yeah, what is the date today? What is date? What is date? Yeah, he always starts the same way. Sort of, you know, this is Ken Hovind coming to you from Lenox, Alabama, and the date is whatever. It's like he thinks he's Captain Kirk, like he's got a Star Trek date 2025. No, you are not Captain Kirk. You were not even close. You were not even close.
I forgot to change the date. September 24th. Tonight, Whack an Atheist, Lyman Dan, again. Poor guy, he doesn't get it. How many times?
No. This is the one where he's responding to Simon Dan. So he calls him Lyman Dan. For a start, this is the kind of ad hominem that he does. I don't think so. Unless you're Simon Dan. Maybe it is. Maybe he taxed you on the end. I haven't seen all of it, but yeah. No, I did not. I've seen a couple of debates Dapper has had against him. I'm sure I've seen them. I don't remember that exactly, but, you know, Dapper always does really well. Well, you know, my birthday's coming up, mate. You're just going to have to find out. You're just going to have to find out. You're just going to have to find out. Hang on. If you want a preview, Yahooligan, and I'm going to give a big shout out to Yahooligan because this is my favorite short on my channel. I don't have a lot of shorts on my channel, but this, I'll play my favorite short for you. From my channel. You know, let's do a bit of self-promotion here. Let's stroke that self-promotion on my channel. Jess, I know you're going to clip that as well. Stop. Let's yeah. I don't have a lot of shorts, but I do have this one. Okay, how's that looking? Yeah, there we go. There we go. What do I do for the hair? Oh yeah. What a dead set woman magnet.
Hello, my name is Dr. Ken Hovind. What the fuck is Craigslist? Would someone get me Craig? It's on the computer. IRS maybe do it. Part of my community service. Steve! I can't put it on the screen, Steve. Someone get Steve. What? What do you mean he stole my money? And come down to Dinosaur Adventureland, where we guarantee at least one of your children will survive. That's not a real guarantee. That's not a real guarantee. Go to www.hovindisnottoblame.com. Atheist things, because atheists are the devil. Those poor Christians. Those poor Christians. They're being persecuted. They deny the God in the schools, and they want to put in their religion of evolution, and they just put it in, and... Hello, my name is Dr.
Yeah. So big thank you for to Yahooligan for that one. Sent it across to me. I just loved it. Just loved it. It was awesome. Yeah. What a guy. Oh, your birthday is... Oh, happy birthday, Jess. Happy birthday. There you go. How to rule an asteroid birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Jess, amazing, awesome person, awesome community. Roger. Like seriously, that is, you know, so you want to know what I did with my hair? Well, I'm about as genuine as Ken Hovind there. About as genuine.
Have I whacked him? 7 or 8 or 9? A lot. He needs it. Thank you, Dan, for being such an easy target. I had a real long day today. Okay. We're on a bunch of channels. I think even back on YouTube. By the way, there's Joseph. What did you find out about them reinstating all the YouTube channels?
Still haven't heard from the Genesis Baptist Church channel, but it was an emphatic no for the Ken Hovind official channel.
Why?
They didn't give a reason. Community guideline. We looked at it again, and your videos do violate community guidelines. We will not be reinstated.
Huh.
I'll send you the email.
Okay.
But Genesis Baptist Church, we still have a shot at.
Genesis Baptist Church. Okay.
Yeah, so this is Ken Hovind. Okay, so I have to explain what's going on here. Ken Hovind got thrown off of YouTube. Now, we don't really know the reason. We are sort of picking up certain things from this conversation. Violation of community guidelines. Now, every single channel on YouTube, they basically are, you need to agree to the YouTube community guidelines. A lot of it is sort of no hate speech. You can't, there's a whole bunch of things that you can't violate. So no, no porn or, just no sort of adult content. There's a whole bunch of things that you have to adhere to. Now, whether he did just that, there has been a rumor, or the rumor floating around circles, is that he bought subs, and that's just a rumor. I don't know that's a fact. That's just what I've heard. Allegedly, he bought a bunch of subs, so he basically paid a company to give him subs to sort of bloat his channel and give him views, so he will sort of fool the algorithm into being more popular, which you're not allowed to do. So he basically had his channel taken down, and it was a pretty large channel. I don't know how much of it was fake subs. We'll never know that, but he had it taken down. Even if, like, I don't even know that was the reason. It was just what I heard. Considering that I've seen a lot of people break community guidelines as far as content is concerned, like all the time, like just constantly. I'm going to point to Andrew Wilson on Modern Day Debate just shouting racist stuff into the mic. Like, obviously they don't care that much. I think it's more likely, in my opinion, to be something like buying subs from a third party. Now, he basically started up the channel, and hilariously, Emma Thorne, who I like Emma Thorne, she got him taken down again by pointing it out and making a video go viral about him doing ban evasion, because they don't ban just your channel, they ban you. So you, like Ken Hovind, is banned from making content on YouTube, but he tries to get around it. As I said, he in my opinion, he's still a sovereign citizen. He does not consider rules to be, he considers himself to be beyond the rules, in my opinion. Captive Desk. Anyway, I'll just finish this story. Thank you so much, Dave, but I will finish this story. Now, because that channel was taken down, he's looking at starting up another one. And you can see, he asked this guy, oh, well, why won't they let us start up the channel? He knows why, right? He's just trying to be a pain in the ass until he gets his way. It's been a common theme, in my opinion, even when he got done for tax fraud by the IRS, he kind of just made himself a pain in the ass, right? Like, he tried to sue the prosecutors, and he tried to hide evidence. And that was one of the reasons his sentence was so heavy. It's because he did everything possible to impede the investigation, hide evidence, really just was a complete ass, as he often is. Like, he's just an ass. So he doesn't consider following the rules. Like, he doesn't say, okay, well, I've violated their agreement, I will go to Rumble, but he wants to get back. And this is a common theme that comes up. But, he could, right, what he could do, because he runs Genesis Baptist Church, he could just start a channel for Genesis Baptist Church, give it to somebody else in his organization, and he would probably be fine. But he's not going to do that, because Ken Hovind, it's not about the channel, it's about him. He wants to be on there. He wants to be doing the debates on YouTube. He wants to be up there. And tough, you can't be. No, because you breached not only the community guidelines on multiple occasions, he also allegedly had bought subs, which is a flagrant breach of the contract with Google. So no, you don't get to do that. And his minion is saying, hey, we're looking at doing this one instead. Look, Kent, wherever you go, someone's going to find you, spread it around, you're going to get taken down again. Your ban evasion is gross. But as I said, what he could do is just get somebody else to speak on the church's behalf. But we're talking about a guy who would never let somebody speak for his organization apart from him. If it was me and I had a religious organization and I copped a ban, I would just say, okay, well, I'll give it to this person. They can do the videos, and not have me there. But that is not who Kent is. That is not who he is. He absolutely needs to be front and center. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dave. I really appreciate it. I really hope you're feeling better. Dave had some surgery lately, which we all hope you get well soon, mate. Like really, that was a surprise to me, and wow, tough as nails, this man. I suspect that Dave is actually a small Bigfoot. I think he's actually a small Bigfoot. Tough as nails, you champ. So thank you so much, Dave, for 5 readerships. Those go out to Farron, Salos, Geosam, Greg S, Anarchic Fox, Ryan Coltastic. Thank you so much. Winners, chicken dinners. Enjoy your emotes and other benefits. Thank you so much. Oh, look, just as an aside, tangents in the chat. I had a great member stream yesterday, and I want to thank everybody that came along. Played one of my favorite games, chilled out, talked crap. In the game, we Molotoved the local country club. Yes, it was infested with zombies, but you know, it was a time. It was a fun time. So I really want to thank everybody for coming over to that. It was a fun time, and that's one of the benefits you can have, is attending the live streams for the casual hangout streams for the members only, which is fantastic. Where's my winner chicken dinner? There we go. Got to jump. No worries, Seth. You take care, my friend. You take care. Hovind is a Trump. You know what? That is absolutely one of the things that I think is true. Big Bad Mama. The correlations between Trump and Hovind, they're very similar. They're very the insults, the sort of really childish behavior. So the immaturity, the sort of wanting everything to be about themselves. Look, I'm not a psychologist, and even if I was, I would not be diagnosing somebody online or, from a distance. But to me, in my opinion, he has all the traits of a classic narcissist. Like, all of them. It is actually pretty scary. And Left-Handed Jedi, thank you so much for $5 US. If you suffer dizziness, loss of appetite, seeing spots, or hydrophobia, drink or smoke until these symptoms end. Right. Yes, and be aware that Hovind has been known to cause dizziness, loss of appetite, seeing spots, and hydrophobia. Either it's Hovind or rabies. I don't know which one, but yeah. Oh, that's good, Dave. That's good. That's good. I'm sure we're going to have a fantastic stream. I feel great today. I really do. I woke up. I was a little bit tired. As soon as I started, it's Hovind. Wow. Country clubs, by definition, are plagued with the living dead? Maybe, yeah. I mean, I know that their population is usually on the older side, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, forget YouTube. Go to all the other ones: Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, etc.
Forget YouTube. See, this is the kind of thing that he does. Forget YouTube, but how do we get back on YouTube? How do we get back on there? Like, dude, just put it under somebody else's name. It's very easy. Oh, you can't do that, can you? Because it has to be about you.
One app, Ken Hovind TV. They can't do anything with that one. Too bad, guys. Here we are, the 24th, and Lyman Dan again.
Yeah, and this is the kind of stuff he does. Lyman Dan. Yeah, what's he lying about? 61% of Americans would feel sad or lonely at this holiday season. 37% wish they could skip it altogether. Yeah, I do get that. I do get that. There's a lot of people out there who are they don't have a lot of family. They don't have a lot of connection. And so to some people, it is very upsetting. It's a very depressing time of year. There's a lot of expectation around holidays, which I don't agree with. I think that this whole idea that you have to provide certain things, like buy certain presents, it can be detrimental. It really can. Hey, Maya. Good to see you. Oh, and Ember. The Emberness is just overwhelming. Member for 27 months. What the What the commitment, Batman. Wow, Amber, that is amazing. What the commitment. Message, flame-broiled aristocracy is a very funny... Yeah, pretty much. Look, I hate country club. I think they're a waste of space. I think there's so much better things you can spend money on than all of the upkeep of the grass, and it's very elitist. I don't like elitist things, so yeah, I'm right there with you. Not in real life, but you know, in a game, that's a lot of frustration taken out. That is true. To be fair, last time Kent put his empire on somebody else's name, little Eric took it and sold it off out of spite. Well, you don't have to put it under somebody else's name. You can just still have everything in your name and have, like, somebody else just do the videos. You know, I'm not saying he has to give it to someone else, but no, that's fair. That's fair. If you don't know, he used to have a dinosaur Adventureland, which was a lot nicer in Florida, right? In Florida. And when he went to prison, he gave it to his son Eric, or Hovind the Lesser, as we call him. But he sort of just switched it out of his name, because as they went along, his wife, which was, I think it was Mary Hovind, and his mother, Eric Hovind's mother, realized that, like, she hadn't wanted him to do all of this stuff. He'd basically dragged her into crimes. She'd gone into prison. She didn't get as heavy a sentence because she basically cooperated and he didn't. So, you know, it kind of was this... Eric, I don't think he likes his dad. And I'm not surprised. You know, I don't know... I've got my own issues with Eric, but I can understand why he feels let down by his dad. You know, sort of dragging your mother into this whole, you know, sovereign citizen, you know, I don't pay tax nonsense was just something that he hated. Well, Eric Hovind's gotten into pre-sup lately, and pre-sup is the Steven Seagal of apologetics. It is just terrible. It's just all claims, and it's pretty awful. Anyway, I'll move right along.
Lonely this over Christmas or any vacation, come on down, make us your family. We come down for Columbus Day, for Harvest Festival over instead of stupid Halloween holiday.
Okay, so there's more to that, because if you're going, come down and make us your family, he will work his family. Like, if you stay with him for more than a couple of days, he will put you to work doing things, like to improve the park, to add to his revenue, to sell things, to do whatever. And he's always looking for people with specialist skills in order to exploit them. Like, he's always looking for IT people. He wants IT people because he's so bad with it, but he realizes in order to sell his stuff, and I do note that he's got some of his stuff that he's selling like front and center of the screen. It really is emblematic of this man, because he sells this stuff, says it's on behalf of the church, puts it into the church, doesn't pay any tax on it, but really, in my opinion, he probably uses that as a slush fund for himself. He really is one of those people who is running a church for the benefit of themselves. Yeah.
For Veterans Day, if you're a veteran, come on down. For Thanksgiving, be part of our family. We'll take you right in. Special days, Christmas days, you can join us for holidays. Have a blast around here.
Yeah, and I allegedly, that complex, DAL, is a homeless shelter. So that's how he sort of says, come along, we'll feed you, we'll give you board. There will be expectations upon that. It will be that you will have to work, basically, in order to receive that, but you won't be paid. So I don't have a problem with work programs as part of helping the homeless. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But I feel that he is exploiting them by sort of not... Like, you're going to have to do other stuff like attend the prayers, attend these things. Apparently, according to somebody that I've heard, allegedly you have to attend these recording sessions, you know, seminar things that he gives, that he broadcasts or used to broadcast onto YouTube. Like, it is wild that his audience is basically locked in there. How long for, Big Bad Mama? How long for? I admire the balls. I think it's this is a dangerous cult. I really do think so.
So, I know somebody that needs this message tonight, share it with them. We get calls probably every day from somebody who gets saved watching one of our videos that somebody else recommended they watch. So you might get somebody in heaven if you just simply send them a link. Okay, if you want to defend your evolution religion, I need more debate partners. Come on, guys. 380.
Yeah, so I don't debate Ken Hovind because, as last I heard, he was appealing his conviction on domestic violence, and I don't debate people. You know, I don't want to be on a stage with someone convicted of domestic violence. I don't know how some of these people, after what they've done, get back up and try to reintegrate themselves with mainstream sort of debate culture and stuff. I saw recently that Lawrence Krauss was doing debates on morality. Now, I want to give my thoughts on this because it is unbelievable that somebody who has, you know, a lot of credible accusations from women of sort of, you know, taking advantage of them, right? And who is so, like, Lawrence Krauss, if you're unaware, is really associated with Epstein. I don't know if you knew that. He is very, very associated with Epstein, used to hang out with him a lot, right? And has had sort of allegations of sexual misconduct, right, from the university. It is wild. It is absolutely wild. It is absolutely wild that he would go to do a debate on morality, right? So, Krauss defended Epstein after his 2008 guilty plea of procuring for prostitution of a girl below 18. In 2011, Krauss told an interviewer, "As a scientist, I always judge things on my empirical evidence, and he always has women ages 19 to 23 around him. I've never seen anything else, so as a scientist, my presumption is whatever the problems I would believe him over other people. I don't feel tarnished in any way by my relationship with Jeffrey. I feel raised by it." No, that is not the right response, sir. That was not the right response. I've noticed that somebody that I've debated called Smoky Saints trying to wheedle his way back into the communities of debate. And I did a morality debate on him, and then allegedly, and according to what I heard, I don't know if this is absolute fact, but he vanished. And Praise I Am suggested that it was due to much the same thing, underage violations of the law. Just put it that way. This man is trying to debate morality. Just wild. Just wild. It is incredible that these criminals, I mean, not Lawrence Krauss, of course, but, you know, there's been some allegations against him, and, you know, hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein does not make him look any better. So, wow. Wow.
9 and I'm stuck, Joseph. Any more schedule? Okay.
Yeah, and he sort of does this chicken sound kind of thing, but he really is obnoxious in a debate. I've debated him 3 times, Noah's Ark, evolution, and, you know, number one, he's just a broken record. He says the same thing over and over. Usually with debates, I don't want to get stuck on the same thing over and over and over. It's just not, it's not good for the audience. It's not good for, you know, myself. It's not good for anybody. And he is a broken record. He just says the same things over and over and over. It's better if, you know, you have people that go away, think about things, and come back with some different responses. At least have something else. Yeah, he vanished for a while, but he thinks everyone's forgotten Spooky. He's kind of trying to wheedle his way back. And I'm, if it is true that he was convicted of child dingo, um, you know, I don't see how anybody accepts him back. Like, seriously, that is, yeah.
Extension 5, if you want to schedule a cabin to stay in for a day or two, you can help our ministry stay open for free. Join our 777 Club.
Yeah, this is a blatant copy of, I think it's Benny Hinn's 700 Club. Benny Hinn's got this thing about a club which can part of you're part of 700 kind of thing. This is Hovind's version, which is sort of, so it's like a Temu 700 Club, because Benny Hinn is huge. Ken Hovind is not. He is really, like, ever since he got convicted of tax fraud, he has been on the out ever since.
I like what you're doing. I'm going to donate $1 a day, $31 a month, okay? DrDino.com. 9.5 years, okay.
Hillhugger for 28 months, level commentator. Message, release the Escalator files. Oh, yeah. No, it's, yeah. So two things. Number one, all of the things that Trump was complaining about at the UN, and it's Pat Robinson? Okay, thanks, Phantom and UGT. Thank you. I thought it was Benny. They all blend into one another after a while, to be honest with you. But Pat Robinson, yeah, he was even worse, I think. It's terrible. Everything that... Number one, how can Jesse Waters basically say, oh, we should either leave the UN or bomb them? And then he goes on to say, oh, maybe we should gas them? Which is just a dog whistle of a extreme order, right? Like, that is just, wow. How can you say that? That is awful, right? He's not cancelled like Kimmel was. He can joke about gassing people. Like, what are you doing? And he's fine. I don't understand this double standard. Anyway, so yeah, Jesse Waters, awful human being. Awful. That is, talking about, like, taking revenge for an escalator breaking. Number one, the escalator was broken, they're saying, by Trump's cameraman going up to get the shot of them coming up the elevator. He was looking for a shot of them arriving up the elevator. So he was walking backwards taking pictures and hit something called the comb, which was the series of teeth up the top of the elevator that the escalator goes into, right? So he hits that, triggers the safety mechanism that won't allow anything to be, basically ground underneath it. And so the elevator stops. So it was actually one of Trump's employees that triggered that escalator. But Fox isn't saying that. They're saying nothing about it. But that is what the report is. No, it wasn't an emergency button. No, it wasn't. It was an automatic stop after something got caught in something called the comb, which is the series of spikes up the top of the escalator, where the thing goes into. So the dude walking backwards with the camera to get the nice shot of the president and the first lady coming up the escalator, he probably hit that, the heel of his foot, because he's walking backwards, gets pulled a little bit under, and it automatically stops for safety reasons. It wasn't a button. It wasn't a button. It was an automated response from hitting the comb. The second thing he protested about was that the teleprompter thing was that the White House staff were operating the teleprompter and they screwed it up. It was the White House staff that did that. It was incompetence on the part. But of course, let's not look at facts and evidence and what we've got to actually say it. Let's look at what we can use this, for political advantage by blaming the UN, which honestly, I don't think Trump wants to be part of the UN. I think he thinks it's a waste of time. No, well, I didn't hear that, GT. I heard that it was the UN's teleprompter, but it was Trump's staff that was operating it. And since everybody else could, everyone else could use it just fine, it wasn't the teleprompter, it was the way the staff was doing it. So they were the ones responsible for that.
Simon Dan has really been obsessed with me and my channel. And he's played, let's see, there's Ken Hovind, 5.
No, look, this is hilarious because every time, like, Simon Dan's been doing this for ages, and Simon Dan whacks a lot of people. He usually goes after flat earthers. Really, Simon Dan looks for absurdity, right? He looks for things that are just absurd, like flat earth, which Ken Hovind agrees. Ken Hovind will say, hey, you know, everybody that believes in flat earth is stupid. That's what Ken Hovind says. I don't agree with him on that. I think they're just ignorant. I wouldn't use that word, but it's Ken Hovind. But you can see here, right, he's got the 2 videos. He's got one from a year ago, and he's got one from 4 years ago, right? It's not like he's obsessed with you. Those are 3 years apart. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. He has, like, done sort of laughed at Ken Hovind a few times, but who doesn't laugh at Ken Hovind? Even other creationists laugh at Ken Hovind. Like, it's actually incredible.
First target, Ken Hovind, former science teacher, doesn't know any science. Creationist not happy with this. Creationist does not go well, this interview. All
Yeah,
kinds
so
of
3 months,
videos Simon
4
Dan
months.
has done about me. And thank you, Dan, for you play a lot of my material.
Yeah, but I mean, it's over the course of like 5 years or so. It's not like he's focused on you. He sort of has this idea of anybody that talks about him is somehow riding his coattails or enthralled with him or something like that. He basically will accuse people of, oh, you're making money off me. And no, we're making money off absurdity because this man is absurd. It's just that, in my opinion, his narcissistic sort of traits say, well, if they're talking about me, I'm the center of attention. I'm the one that has to be the big guy in the middle. They're talking about me, so therefore it's all me. No, it's about the absurdity of your beliefs, sir, because it is absurd. And Simon Dan does tons of videos, and most of them are about flat Earth, because that is one of the most absurd ones out there. But, you know, you get a special mention because, you know, I don't think he even does other young Earth creationists. Like, he probably doesn't do, like, Simon Dan probably doesn't do Ken Ham or other people that sort of are a bit young Earth creationist, but aren't as wacky as this guy. Because this guy, with his lunar bukkake, with his ice canopy, with his moon pool in Noah's Ark, is just on another level of silliness. In fact, Answers in Genesis used to have an article saying don't use Ken Hovind's arguments. I believe they've taken it down, but, you know, I don't think they really endorse him at all, in my opinion, because he has some of the worst arguments you can ever see on evolution. And we'll see some of them as this video goes ahead.
On your channel, thank you. People get a little bit of truth once in a while, okay? Challenging an evolution denier. I don't deny evolution. Depends what you mean by the word. Not happy. The Duck Whisperer. Creationist attacks Carl Pagan. Yep, I sure did. Taking on the biggest evolution.
Yeah, and he's got these nicknames for people. Carl Pagan, you know, Lyman Dan. He comes up with these names a lot like Trump does, you know, Dozy Donald Trump with his you know, Sleepy Joe and all of these names. He is so much like Trump, it's ridiculous. You know, I popular evolution denier is unpopular. Yeah, so there's Pologia in the background as well.
Evolution denier on YouTube 5 years ago. Let's see. Ken Hovind fails to debunk Simon Dan again. Creepy Blind Man did several channels about.
Yes, that's Creaky Blinders. You know, creepy. So Ken Hovind should be the last person to call somebody creepy. Okay, the very last person. He is one of the creepiest old men you're ever going to meet. There was a story, I did have it a while ago, I was talking about a while ago, where the town in which Ken Hovind lives, there was an article up in one of their sort of journals, their papers, sort of saying, watch out for this old man, because he went up to somebody in the town's child and asked them if they were married yet. Like some little girl, like 8-year-old girl or something. Now, I could be wrong about that. I don't know that for fact. But apparently someone was complaining about Ken Hovind just being creepy around children. So yeah, and apparently the town don't like him, and they, you know, allegedly they call him, you know, they call it a cult because they have to live around it, which is just horrifying. It is weird. It is weird. Yeah. I do know a couple of people. Big Bad Mama apparently has gone there. I know that Grayson Hawk, good friend of mine, Grayson Hawk, has been there. He said it's a weird place. It is a weird place. But yeah, this man is creepy. There's shots of him asking children, and there is video evidence of this, asking children if they're married yet. You know, it's so weird that his mind would go down there. Yeah, that sort of, yeah, Walmart approach to children, ask parents to buy one. Big Bad Mama does a lot of short form content on Hovind. Really good channel if you do like it. And, you know, absolutely, Big Bad Mama is awesome. I might get you, Big Bad Mama. So yeah, I would absolutely believe you. Absolutely believe you. But he's been creepy like that before. And the fact that he was friends with a convicted, a guy on the PDF registry and invited him to his, you know, like, he is the last person to call anybody creepy. If you're unaware, there is a documentary, really good one, called The Weakness of Hovind. If you haven't seen it, it is worth a watch. It was done sort of in the wake of this all happening. It's actually really good. Give me 1 second. I'll find a link to it. It's just available on YouTube. It's actually very good. Now, it is about from 3 years ago, but it is very good. So I will link that. So yeah, if you get a chance, do check it out. Hovind tried to get one of his minions to create his own documentary. It was terrible. It was really, really terrible. Like, I really think that, you know, anybody defending this guy, or if he calls somebody creepy, it is projection on the worst level. Seriously.
Me and Simon Dan. So here's the show. Is it taken down? Can you find out, brother? It's playing for you. Joseph, it's just me, huh?
He might have you blocked finally.
He might have me blocked. Well, why, Dan?
Because you're a creepy old man that says inappropriate stuff and insults people all the time. Maybe because of that. Maybe because of that, Ken. Yeah, let me get yeah. And if you do like sort of Big Bad Mama does a lot of shorts and a lot of really cool stuff. Give me 1 sec. I'm just going to find you in my list. I know I'm subscribed to you, my friend. I absolutely am aware of it. There's not enough hours in the day to watch everything I want to watch. But yeah, that documentary is really good. Where are you? No? Why can't I find you? I don't know what YouTube is doing with these subscriptions. It's very, very weird. And I know I've got like events turned on because, you know, I often leave comments on your shorts and stuff. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Hello, Chris. Have a good night. Okay, yeah, I'm having a fantastic day. I can't have a good night, but I can have a fantastic day. Fantastic day.
Why are creationists wrong about evolution every time?
Yeah.
And that was just, what, 8 days ago, you said, on his channel? I posted this comment at 6 p.m. An hour ago.
Yeah, and keep in mind that Hovind's been corrected on a lot of the stuff that he says again and again and again and again, like ad nauseum, and he doesn't change anything he says. He'll just say, "Oh, I'll look into it," or I don't know how to respond to that because I haven't researched it. And then, he will keep saying the same stuff. He's a broken record, and it doesn't matter that his script is broken. He'll just wait people to forget about it and then keep saying it. It's really bad.
Maybe this is why he took me down, Dan. I said, my comment on Dan's channel posted at 6 p.m. Well, Dan, you get the prize again. On my show tonight, you called Whack an Atheist on all my channels listed on drdino.com. I'll be exposing again how silly and wrong your arguments are to try to support your silly religion of evolution. I have to admit, you are good at quoting the same old disproven script your fellow travelers have used for 75 years to try to trick people into believing in evolution. Every Thursday and Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I do a call-in talk show called Evolution is the Dumbest and Most Dangerous Religion in the World. Prove me wrong. Please call in one time to try to defend what you say. So, Dan, you're invited. Please, okay? Good job. This computer won't get on it. What if you...
Yeah, so Simon Dan doesn't really do debate, and I can't say I blame him. Debate is... it's really stressful. It's really horrible, especially with people like Ken Hovind. It exposes you to discussions with people that sometimes you don't want discussions with, and that's okay. I totally get that he's just making content. This whole thing of, well, you have to call in and debate me. No, and speaking as someone who has debated Ken Hovind and, absolutely done a fantastic, in my opinion, of course, if I do say so myself, I did a fantastic job in, taking down Hovind, which isn't hard, to be fair. He says the same things over and over every single time, so it's very easy to prepare to. But that aside, I can say it is he is deceptive. He is a liar. In my opinion, he's a liar because he'll say stuff like, he'll make agreements beforehand, right? We'll agree through the moderator that, hey, we're only going to talk at one topic at a time. We're not going to bring up 3 or 4 topics and then try and move on, basically. We'll stick to one until that's settled and then move on to the next one. When he agrees to that, he doesn't think it applies to him. So he will do that exact thing in the debate. And he doesn't think, when you agree one topic at a time, he's thinking, you do one topic at a time, I won't. When it's no name calling, he'll think, no, you don't call me stuff, but I'm fine calling you stuff. When he says sort of, oh, don't bring up personal information, he will object when you bring up sort of, hey, you're a convicted felon. But he will object to that, but then he'll bring up his opponent's sexuality. So everything that he agrees to, he has no, it is a failing of this man that when he agrees to something in a debate, he thinks it applies to you and not him. That, it is wild to think like that. Just wild. 10 p.m. then? Yeah. It's absolutely wild. And so he'll lie about the conditions and then sort of alter the conditions of the debate that he's doing things and then object when you do the same. It's really egregious. He is a gish galloper of the worst degree. Now, gish galloper, if you're unfamiliar, it's basically bringing up, in a response, bringing up 4 or 5 different things, all unconnected, in order so you can't challenge them. Now, I've got a method where I basically address all of them very quickly, and then he's on the back foot, which he didn't like. But the fact that he says one topic at a time and then proceeds to do it it's awful. It's awful. So I don't blame Simon Dan for not wanting to debate this guy. He's so dodgy. He's so dishonest. He is a really, really terrible debater. So I don't blame him.
He would just block me, huh? Why do you do that? I never block him. Better yet.
Yeah, he's not insulting you and trying to contact you for debates. Hovind's a sort of, you see the victim complex here, sort of the narcissistic victim complex. Oh, well, I'm going to hassle him, and when he blocks me, I'm the victim. You just blocked me out of spite because you can't. It's that victim complex that he always has. And this is a common theme throughout his life. He'll basically say, oh, the police picked on me and did a conspiracy against him. I didn't do anything wrong, but the police did this, conspiracy against me to get me charged with tax evasion, which he absolutely was doing. Absolutely. That is in the court cases. He was absolutely committing crimes. He was convicted by a jury of his peers. He was absolutely doing that. And so, but to him, he has to be the victim. And you get this with narcissistic peoples. It's always, oh, I'm the one being victimized. You're victimizing me by stopping me from hassling you. Wild.
Come visit our Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama, 70 miles north of Pensacola, and we can give the tour of our 12,000 square foot science center, and you can learn some real science. We have 30 cabins for you and your family to stay in, 17 lakes and ponds, 5 miles of trails to use to tour in our Jeeps, and our 1/3 scale model of Noah's Ark, a petting zoo, and the world's largest horseshoe crab. It's all free. You can join me live on my show.
Well, it's not free. People do have to work if they stay there for an extended period of time, but people can drop in, make sure you buy his DVDs, right? Like he's definitely making money from it. People I know have dropped in there. It's a bit of a creepy feeling. It may be worth it. I don't know. I personally wouldn't go there. I do not like the idea of a Christian compound out in the middle of nowhere where they probably have a great many amount of guns. It worries me. Ken Hovind has said before that the world is going to end before the end of his life. It's going to end in his lifetime. I worry about what he will do if that doesn't happen, because of course it won't. People have been saying this for ages. I haven't been raptured lately. I don't know about you.
Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Sit right here, Dan. We'll be friends, okay, for a minute, or pretend. I pray for you, Dan. You're deceiving a lot of people.
So one of the wildest things that Ken Hovind did, and he's of course obsessed with Dan. Dan says, hey, there's this crazy creationist, and moved on. He goes on and on and on about them, and that's what these people have to do. They have to sort of tear down their character. What Simon Dan does is he lets what they say speak for themselves. He says, hey, this is what he said. Like that thing I showed earlier. He goes, oh, I'm not an atheist because I've checked out these religions and none of them fit my beliefs, right? That's why I'm an atheist. And Ken Hovind goes on to say, oh, it's because it doesn't fit your lifestyle. It's because you are in an immoral lifestyle. He really does put words in the person's mouth. And Simon Dan is pointing that out. He's not going on about Hovind personally. I am. I don't care. I think that Hovind and his history is enough to paint him in a certain light that you really don't want to associate with this individual. But, Simon Dan doesn't do that. And Simon Dan doesn't focus on Hovind. Hovind has these grudges that he focuses on. He had this big thing about Aaron Ra. He had this big thing about Emma Thorne. He had this big thing about Simon Dan. And it's always people of a large audience that are just criticizing him. He can't take it. It's incredible.
That won't go well for you on Judgment Day.
Oh,
Call
yeah.
855 Big Dino, extension 4 to be on my show, extension 5 to schedule a cabin, extension 3 to talk to me. No hard feelings.
And what's even wilder, if you didn't know this, he actually wrote a number of letters from people he feels have violated him in some way or wronged him in some way. A series of letters asking for forgiveness and conceding that Hovind was right. So he wrote as a letter to himself, as Simon Dan, saying, oh, I was totally wrong about evolution. I don't know what I was thinking. I accept that you're right and the Lord is true and all of this stuff. He wrote a letter to himself like that and then read it on air saying this is the letter that Simon Dan will write in the future when he realizes he was wrong. Like, it is just madness. And for him to sit there and go, oh, well, he talks about me. Simon Dan did not write a letter as Ken Hovind to himself to, I don't know why, convince himself that this would be coming in the future. He also did it with an ex-wife of his, wrote a letter as her to him, to himself, basically saying, oh, you were right about everything and I'm a liar. And it was just like, it's weird. It is so weird for someone to do that. Like, wow.
Hope you know I whack you often to save your listeners from being deceived and to maybe reach even you with the truth. God made the universe about 6,000 years ago. It belongs to him. He makes the rules. We're all guilty of breaking his rules and will be judged. Jesus provided a way out. Call me and I'll explain. Anyway, Dan says at the 2-minute.
Yeah, I don't think you will explain. I think that Hovind always, he won't debate Christianity. That's one of the things that annoys me. That he would he would debate evolution all the time. He won't debate Christianity. So when he says call me, I'll explain, he won't stand up and actually debate it. He kind of knows he has nothing.
41-second mark. There's evidence for evolution from every field of science, biology, etc. supports macroevolution.
Yes.
They always say this. Everything supports it, like it's a dogma. That's why we got the Pope hat for Dan here. Let's see. I got it taped on. So.
Well done.
Okay. Dan the Pope. If he said it, it's got to be true. He's speaking ex commo.
No. That's not how science works. It isn't just one person. That's the thing. It's a group of people, and it depends where the science leads. And we have papers. We have people that we have reputable journals that only produce stuff that is peer reviewed and checked by all the experts in the field. It's not a perfect system, but it's better than just having a Pope or a Hovind that you just believe everything that they say. No, we don't believe it because Dan says it. He is just communicating the science to people. That's all. That's all. He didn't discover any of these things. He didn't go and find, like, he's not a paleoanthropologist. He doesn't go and find bones and go, hey, we've got a fossil record here. That's not what Dan does. I can't remember Dan's field. I think maybe he's in chemistry, maybe? What is his field? Maths, physics, environmental science, and geography, and a BTEC in sports science. Oh, there you go.
Or something like that, okay? I'll look him out. Okay. He says macroevolution. It's evidence for this from fossil records.
Yes.
Comparative anatomy, embryology.
Yes.
He wants to go through the same line of lies every time. The word fossil is derived from the Latin word fossilis, meaning unearthed. They dig it out of the ground.
That really doesn't matter. That really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? What the old term, like, so Ken Hovind does a lot of this. The fallacy, if you're interested, is called a etymological fallacy. It's basically saying, hey, because it has this meaning in the past, it still must have this meaning, but that's not how words work. There's a few words out there we still use that had a very different meaning in the past. Word meanings change. So using it like this is kind of really silly. He does the same for science, saying that scientia means knowledge in Latin, therefore science is just knowledge. No, that is not what the word means anymore. It's, yeah. Yep.
Index fossils may have been found in some order in some places, but see the random shuffling that would happen just during Noah's flood. Creation.com, answers from Genesis.org, ICR.org have lots more on that topic. Okay.
Yeah, so index fossils are just fossils that are consistent over many areas that always appear at the same layer. We don't get that. They have this thing of, oh, we date the index fossils by the layer, and we date the layer by the index fossils. And that is not really true. We date the layer by a lot of absolute dating methods like radioactive dating, uranium-lead dating, a lot of different types of dating to these things. But once we find fossils in a certain age, we find that they appear in the same layer. Now, we can go, just for a sort of general idea of where that what age that layer is, we can use the index fossils. But we also can date it as well with radiometric means and these other systems. So, just as a guideline, because they always show up at the same layer, these fossils, they will be consistently showing up at the same age layer. So yeah, it's not that we have to, that's the only way we do it. It's just out in the field, that can give them a good guide of how old it is. They test it and we find out, hey, it is coming up that age. After a certain amount, that becomes a good guide. But, to find out exactly how old a layer is, we still date it. It's just, he just doesn't understand anything.
Do fossils prove evolution? Dan says they do. Let's see. Fossils provide important evidence for evolution, showing how life on Earth has changed over time. How on earth can a fossil show that?
Man says they don't. One man. Hovind man. It's just, this whole thing of man says this, God says this. Okay, Marty, you take care. It was good to see you. Really good to see you, mate. Oh, did In Time do a raid? Oh, he got me again. I don't see it here. Oh, they're just joined. Okay, so welcome, time travelers. We are looking at the Hovinator because apparently I have too many brain cells, apparently. But yeah, welcome to all the In Time people. I hope Nick is well. He's been doing some fantastic stuff lately. Just there's been a lot of current events. In Time is independent, and I think they do a fantastic job. Raid! Yeah, absolutely. So apparently I've got too many brain cells, so I want to watch some Hovind, get rid of some of them, because, wow. And let's back up Simandan, who does a fantastic job with calling out some of the absurd beliefs. But this whole idea of God's word versus man's word, it's still man's word. Like, it is man's word about God that we're listening to. We're not listening directly to a God's word. Like, that's the thing. It still is just man versus man. And to sort of short-circuit it to, oh, well, it's God's word. No, it isn't. It's some guy added up the ages in the Bible and said it was 6,000 years old. Oh, good. I'm happy to have you, mate. Like, really. I love Nick. I think Nick is just amazing. Love Nick.
Anyway, they demonstrate progression of evolution by revealing organisms that are different from those found today. For example, the oldest known animal fossil, 700 million years old, come from the Ediacara fauna, and numerous fossils belonging to many living phyla with mineralized skeletons appear in rocks 540 million years old. And how do you know the rocks are that old? Yeah, because
radiometric dating. There's a number of dating methods which go up to 540 million years. I think that the best indication that they are old is uranium lead. I think it's uranium lead. Is uranium lead uranium lead dating? It's PB, isn't it? So the reason why that is so good is because basically zircon crystals. Okay, now if you're unaware of this, and I had to have a geologist explain this to me, so don't feel bad. It's sort of very, very interesting, but kind of a very niche thing. If you have uranium in zircon crystals, you also find lead in them. Now, uranium, a form of uranium decays to lead. U-238 decays to lead. But if you have any lead in a zircon crystal, well, it cannot form if lead is around. Zircon crystals will not form when lead is around, any amount of lead. So we know how much uranium we started with, 0. And then the proportion of which, uranium versus lead, because radiometric decay is so consistent, it is so absolutely consistent that we know exactly how old it is from the ratio of uranium versus lead. It doesn't matter the amount, it's the ratio. I don't know the half-life of uranium. It's 4.5 billion years. So we can calculate, and that is the time it takes for half that uranium to turn to lead. So if there is half and half, then it's 4.5 billion years. If it's a quarter, then it's half of that, 2.25 billion years. Right? Like, we know that is an absolute dating method, and we have a few of these absolute ones, as well as using different methods, different isotopes, to cross-check this information. So that's how we know that. This has been explained to Hovind multiple times, once by myself. He still doesn't get it. I think he relies on not getting it to continue his, well, what in my opinion, is a scam.
Because of the fossils they found in them. How do you know the fossils are that old? Because of the rocks they found in them.
Okay, so this was the circular thing I was saying earlier. That is not how they know that the rocks are that old. They use absolute radiometric dating methods. They can, as sort of a shortcut, say, hey, we found this fossil here. It's an index fossil. We always find that fossil at 700 million years old. We're gonna estimate it 700 million years old. The point is that it's just a handy way to evaluate it. We don't base the age of a rock upon it, you know. Yeah, well, I mean, radiometric dating, I've often heard them say, oh, radiometric dating only goes up, so how do you know it's that old? Well, we don't use, carbon dating only goes up to, I think it's 45,000 years or something. Like, we don't use carbon dating. We use other radiometric dating methods in order to get older dates. And carbon dating only does organic material, or material that used to be organic. So it can date fairly well, but it's not the best for the older fossils. That is not what they're using. Absolutely.
It's complete circular reasoning. Watch my video number 4 for much more on that.
Yeah, it's not circular reasoning, and Kent's like, buy my DVDs, because of course he is. UTV and Ham KD9 WNV super chat for $2 to help keep the lights on. Well, thank you so much, UTV. Really appreciate it. Yeah, awesome. I will try and keep the lights on. How else could you marvel at the shininess of my bald head if I don't keep the lights on? It needs to be done. It needs to be done.
Okay. The fossil record alone, let's see. Fossil record alone does not prove evolution. It supports the theory by showing a sequence of life forms that align with evolutionary predictions. They'll say we got the fish, amphibian, reptile, mammal farm. Okay. Oh, Dan, maybe the fish are found at the bottom because they're already at the bottom when the flood starts. It's where they live in the.
They're already at the bottom when the flood starts. Yes, but you've said yourself you find sort of clams on top of Mount Everest. Plus, we do find fossil fish, right? We do find fish fossils higher up. They're just less basal, less primitive. I know that's a bad word. They don't like to call them primitive, but they're more evolved later on. They have more complex structures later up, right? So it's not the case of, well, why is it that the simplest life forms are at the very bottom and they get more complex as it goes up? Why is that? That's something Ken Hovind has never answered. I've asked him, never answered it. Like, you will not find below a certain level, even fish. You will find primitive single-celled organisms. Sorry, I shouldn't be using the word primitive. I have been told off for doing that. They're basal, like less complex organisms. Super chat for $2 from K and K. It's GG, my friend. $2 to keep the heat on since you've no hat on. Yeah, okay. Now that's fair. That's fair. Look, I'm in Australia. The last thing we need is more heat. Although this has been a very cold winter. I gotta say, it's really worried me. For those who doubt climate change and stuff like that, it's been incredibly cold over here during winter. And in summer, it has been insanely hot, like just insanely hot. And this winter we got tornadoes. We don't get tornadoes. Tornadoes aren't a thing. Tornadoes have rocked through my area, like for the first time ever. So You will still get Mark After Dark. You know, I'll lie about that. I'm lying about it in the first place. That's fine. That's fine.
Water. Maybe the first one's buried. Anyway, let's see.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not. It's single-celled organisms like prokaryotes that are at the very, very bottom. It's not. See, Kent does not understand the actual theory. It's very, very strange.
It supports the theory by showing a sequence. Let's see. Some argue that the fossil record does not prove evolution, pointing out the abrupt appearance of diverse forms of life and their continued appearance without significant changes. I agree. Dinosaur fossil count. Since the first dinosaur bones were found in England in the 1800s, nearly 11,000 dinosaur fossils have been unearthed worldwide. Most of these discoveries have been concentrated in North America and Europe, but the scope of fossil encounters has been expanding, particularly in East Asia and South America. Okay. Human fossil count. According to the Smithsonian,
Yeah, and a question that I've asked Kent Hovind that I never got an answer for was, if fossils can form within, this amount of time, why do we find almost no, modern human fossils, like ones that have fossilized within the course of human history, if they can fossilize that fast? We don't find them. Like the fossils that we find are like 10,000 years old. And I will get into that. But, why, if dinosaurs were living in the last 10,000 years, as well as modern humans, and Hovind believes they live side by side, then why don't we find any for modern humans? It's fairly bewildering. It really is bewildering.
6,000 human fossils have been discovered, ranging from complete skeletons to individual teeth. Sometimes all they find is a tooth, like Nebraska man, one tooth. They built the whole man from that tooth. Then
that was a fraud, and scientists discovered the fraud, right? And see, this is the thing. Hovind wants to conflate a failure in sort of mainstream populace with a failure in science. So basically what happened is someone found a pig's tooth and was convinced by a con man to pass it off as a human fossil. Now, this was never believed by the scientific community, right? There was always doubts around it. There was always this, yeah, they found this tooth, but we don't think that is a human fossil. What happened was that the papers ran with it and said, oh, this has been found, it's a human, because apparently media has been sensationalist for a long time now, right? So they ran with it and it was heralded by the media, but the scientific community of paleontologists did not believe that it was a human. And they were the ones who uncovered that it was a fraud. So there was a fringe element of people that found it that thought, oh, this is it. They were wrong, but it was never mainstream belief. So he's trying to conflate this.
they made his wife for the display. Now you have to really be a really smart scientist to know what his wife looked like from his tooth. That'd be a good trick, wouldn't it? I'd say that's stupid, real stupid, okay? These fossils provide insights into early human.
And he hasn't said that Nebraska Man was a fraud that was uncovered by scientists. Nebraska Man definitely was a fraud, but that does not make all of the other fossils found to be frauds, right? It's basically like saying, hey, I got this guy walked into a bank and used a whole bunch of counterfeit money. That means all money is counterfeit. No, that does not follow, Kent. Somebody wrote a fraudulent check. I'm sure Kent has, or something like that. He defrauded somebody. That means all checks are fraud. No, that doesn't follow. No.
Species adaptations, growth rates, and social behaviors. The number of human fossils continues with new discoveries every year. However, the fossil record is still incomplete and fragmented, offering.
Maybe it wasn't a fraud. It definitely had some suspicion around it from the scientific community. A peccary. Yeah, gotcha. Maybe I'm thinking of Piltdown Man. Maybe that was the fraudulent. There was another one that was like Piltdown Man that, again, scientists uncovered and proved to be a fraud. If they're trying to, have this massive fraud of fossils, as Ken is trying to imply, he's trying to imply because a couple of them were frauds, all of them were frauds, right? That's what he's trying to imply. But if that's the case, then why did they uncover the fraud? Why did they actually prove it to be a fraud if they're trying to do this? Because it wasn't creationists who proved it was a fraud. It wasn't the religious side. It was the scientists.
Only a partial look into the ancient past. Scientists often express the need for more fossils to better understand human evolution. Let me uncode that for you. See, that's code word for send more money.
No, it's not. It's basically saying, hey, we found these fossils. We want to find more. Fossils are rare. They need exact conditions in order to form. So them saying, hey, we need more information about this. We want to study this more. It's not saying just, oh, we need more money. It's like, yeah, we've got this incomplete fossil record. We want to find more. But, of course, Ken only thinks people do stuff for money. That's what he thinks. If you want to make money, being a paleontologist is not your way to fame and success, okay? It just isn't. Like, they don't make a ton of money. And what is hilarious is that Ken is, buy my DVDs, send money to me, give to the Genesis Baptist Church so we can take our mission of Jesus, all over and he's like, well, they're asking to go out into the field and try and find fossils in order to preserve scientific record. Like, seriously, it's absolutely ridiculous that they're just doing it for money. No, if they wanted money, they would start a church, Kent. That's what they would do. What you did.
As evidenced by the Mauve Leakey's nearly futile hunt for human bone in a new field, which produced only 3 nondescript scraps after 4 years of hard work. And who funded her for those 4 years? Therefore, while the exact number of human...
Well, they can be funded by academic institutions. They can be funded by scientific institutions. They can be funded by private donors. They can be funded by the public. They get their funding from all kinds of places. It's important to understand, though, that they are actually, instead of just, printing a whole bunch of rambling DVDs and flogging them to people, they're actually trying to do science. Like, they're going out there and uncovering this stuff. I don't know where he's getting this information from. I would guess he's getting it from something like Answers in Genesis or something like that. Maeve Leakey. See, this is the thing. You've probably never heard of that name, Maeve Leakey, right? Like, I hadn't heard of it either until I looked them up. They're actually, relatively famous paleontologists. In fact, they're kind of the first family of paleontologists. It was, see if I remember these names. It was basically a family. It's a 3rd generation of paleontologists. So there was, oh, hello, Nick. Thank you so much for the raid, mate. There was Mary Leakey was her mother. They're all British anthropologists, paleoanthropologists. They're sort of the most renowned paleontology family. Lewis Leakey was the original one with his wife, Mary Leakey. They, found all of these fossils. Then their children went out to find fossils. And then their children went out to find fossils. Like, really cool story. Like, really cool story about a family continuing the tradition of fossil hunting and scientific exploration kind of thing. Yeah, Richard Leakey was Mary Leakey's daughter. So, you've got 3 generations of paleontologists all contributing to the fossil record. Absolutely fantastic. And so if you want money and fame, like I said, you probably haven't heard of the Leakeys before. I hadn't. So if you want fame and notoriety, being a paleontologist is not the way to get it. Like, seriously, it's not the way to get it. It really isn't. Start a church. Start a church. Like, that's if you want to, like, scam people for money. You don't be a paleontologist and dig around in the dirt in uncomfortable places. Sit in your nice plush office with your DVDs up the front and, hassling people and being a lying, cheating piece of crap, and commit tax fraud while you're at it. Because this man committed tax fraud.
Fossils found globally is not static and is increasing. As of the latest available information, there are 6,000 known human fossils. Dan, there is no such thing as a fossil record.
Yes, there is. It is the fossils we have going through the stratigraphy, the stratified layers that have been dated through empirical scientific means, like absolute radiometric dating. There is a fossil record. Absolutely. He keeps saying this. Like it's like he really is just religiously saying there's no fossil record. There's no fossil record. There is. Like he just wants it not to be true. And that's basically where he's coming from.
Fossils by the trillions, but they're from the flood of Noah. And if there's any sorting at all, it's for sorting for obvious other reasons. Hydrologic sorting based upon their habitat, where they live, based upon their intelligence. You know, clams are usually found
based upon their intelligence. How does that work? Like if you had a flood and the water churned everything as it flooded, why? How would that base upon its intelligence? I don't understand this. I don't understand this. It's so weird. It's so weird. I don't understand. How does it sort everything from the most basal of life forms, like prokaryotes, like, you know, mollusks and things like that, up to the lobe-finned fishes, other sort of tetrapods, to then the birds, or birds and reptiles first, sorry, then birds, mammals, and then up to you know, current life forms, or very similar to modern life forms. Like, how does that happen in a chaotic flood? I don't know how that works. Like, I don't understand it, because it would require that flood to have some sort of sorting power that is unfathomable. Now, I'll see if he gives any explanations. He has given explanations for this that make no sense whatsoever. So I'll see if he just goes into them.
at the bottom. Petrified closed clams by the millions. Maybe they're found at the bottom because they're already at the bottom when the flood starts. You know, it's where they live, clams, you know, ocean. Yeah. They say birds are found on top because birds evolved last. No, Dan, maybe birds are found on top because they're the last ones to drown in a flood. Are you allowed to consider that?
Yeah, so it's not so much birds are found on the top. It's just below a certain level, you will not get any birds. And he says, oh, they're sorted last because, well, what about the pteranodons, right? The flying, I don't think they were technically dinosaurs, but they were basically flying animals in the dinosaur periods. But they're always below the mammals. So why? They can fly as well. Pteranodons. Yeah, so they're Petrosauria. They are not technically Dinosauria. So they're the largest flying reptiles, yes. So the question has been presented, and I've asked this myself. Why is it that things like pteranodons, Tyrannosaurus, Ichthyosaurus, and things like that, why do they not go to the top, right, above the mammals? Why do we never find them there? Now, Ken Hovind's response in that debate was that he doesn't know, he'll find out once he gets to heaven. That was literally his response, but it makes no sense, right? He's saying, oh, clams will be found near the bottom, but they're not everywhere. He himself talks about clams being found on a mountain. Now, we know how this works. We know how plate tectonics works. We know that the plate is basically pushed up. When subduction happens, one plate is pushed down, another is pushed up. The plate that used to be a sea floor plate get pushed up, and erosion causes that to be revealed, the lower stratas to be revealed. Therefore, you will get old clam fossils on top of mountains. It's not because water covered it. It's because these plates are moving, and they're moving in altitude as well as location around the globe. But he will say, oh, that's evidence of a flood. But wait, where are all the birds on top of it? Where are all the things on top of it? Where are all the mountain goats and things like that? They're not there. Because fossils don't usually form on top of mountains. They do underwater, though.
Would that bite into your income from your YouTube channel? Okay. There's no fossil record. None of the fossils we find talk, nor have a date stamped on them, okay? When you find a fossil in the ground, all
Yeah, yeah. That's sort of like saying, oh, we can't trust, DNA tests on blood because they don't have a name stamped on them or a blood type stamped on them. No, we do other things to tell. This is just a stupid argument. It's like saying, well, if they don't talk and they don't have a label on them, then you can't tell. No. What works like that? Like, seriously? What? It's like saying, hey, if something doesn't have it written on it, there's no possible way we can tell how much fat or cholesterol is in it. Of course we can. We do other stuff. Don't be silly. This is a silly man.
you can prove is it died and was buried rapidly. You cannot prove it had any offspring. You can't prove it had offspring that lived. You can't prove it had offspring that were different than itself. Why should we believe a bone in the dirt can do something no animal today can do?
They can do it. We do it. We do alter the way that animals look by using artificial selection. We do change how animals look. So yes, they can change. And kind, he's never given a definition of that. Like if you ever talk to him, ask what a kind is, how he defines a kind, he won't answer. It's absolutely incredible that he's gone so long without actually defining what a kind is. He goes to animals that can breed with each other, but that doesn't cover it either. There's some edge cases of why that isn't correct either. So you cannot prove it has any offspring. No, but it proves that there's a population of those animals around at a time. Offspring that lived, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's showing that a population of those animals were around at that time and split off. And, all of this is just semantics. And he's supposed to be addressing Dan. He's not. He's just going through the same tired script over and over and over.
Change to a new kind. Why should we believe the bone could do that, Dan? They find fossil turtles that are huge, 15-foot turtles. Giant beavers, 8-foot beavers have been found. Okay, Giant cats, much larger, estimated to have a body mass of 274 kilograms, 600 pounds. Give you a better idea of the sheer size of this cat. Average lion today weighs 300 to 500 pounds. It's a big kitty. Law of super.
I don't get what that's got to do with anything. I don't get what that's got to do with anything. Sometimes being bigger is not a good survival strategy. If the environment rapidly changes, being bigger and needing more food can actually be a reason for extinction. That's what we believe happened with the dinosaurs. Like they were caught by an ice age caused by either a meteorite and the debris it threw up, or by the nuclear winter that occurred after the smoke and the debris blocked the sun. Being bigger and needing more food is not necessarily a good survival strategy. It's not. Tyler says those brachiopods he shows, not clams, they close when they die. Yeah, and creationists have this problem with just saying, hey, it looks like a thing, therefore it is that thing. Those aren't beavers, not even placental mammals. Yeah. Yeah, and sort of there are these megafauna that did used to exist, but being biggest is not necessarily a survival strategy. It's just not.
Encyclopedia Britannica. Dan, there is no such thing as a law of superposition that says the one on top is younger than the one below that.
Yeah, yes, there is. Yes, there is. That's exactly what it says, because we understand how layers are put down and how they're compressed into, like sedimentary rock is compressed, becomes metamorphic, or igneous rock out of volcanoes or whatever gets compressed, becomes metamorphic. We understand how it occurs, and then basically there's erosion that creates sediment. We understand all of this.
That is simply not true. Not if the layers are forming sideways. Think about it. Watch the video, Experiments in Stratification.
Not if layers are forming sideways. How exactly does that work? I think it's because he gets a play toy, a two-dimensional play toy, jiggles it up and down, and you see it basically curves like this, curves up kind of thing. And he's like, oh, layers are forming sideways. No, they're not. No, they're not. Absolutely not. No.
And you will see the layers form horizontally with the tidal flow.
No, they don't. No, or else we'd get layers forming with the Texas floods. You weirdo, what are you talking about? Never in any flood's history, even the biggest floods that have occurred, have layers formed sideways. How does that work? I don't even know how that works. Like, how does this occur? And just because you do it with like a very contained toy doesn't mean it will happen in a three-dimensional space where there are no edges, right? Just because you can turn this thing over and make it like sort of wavy doesn't mean that it's going to work in a three-dimensional, like completely open area. Like, seriously, the man... Like, show me an instance where a flood has caused layers to form horizontally. Like, what are you talking about? No, they form horizontally. They get laid down one on top of another, and then tectonics and other geological events cause them to buckle, get pushed up, get pushed down. We know this already.
Nothing to do with forming vertically with age. Nothing. You guys don't get it. No such thing as a law of superposition. So Dan says he has evidence from comparative and natural.
It really is. It's the idea that when one layer gets laid down, another is on top of it. We can do that. There's something called the Green River Formation, and it's from it's called a varve, right? It's basically the sediment built up over every year from the tides going in and coming out. UTV, thanks so much. Have a good night. So it basically gets formed from the tide, like yearly tidal ingress. And there's still some lakes, Lake Tsugamama. There's a lake in Japan which this is still happening. So we know how it works. They never address varves at all, young Earth creationists. Give me one sec, I'll find the lake. Because there's a lake where it's been happening for a time, you know? Lake Sugetsu, that's it. So it is basically, it gets a yearly laying down of sediment, and then basically it goes back and it creates these things called varves. It's been happening for ages. I'm trying to find out how long, but definitely over 10,000 years. Like, it's definitely, like, we can count the sediment layers laid down. Yeah, so I think about 50,000 years it's been happening for, which is just cool, to be honest with you. But, you know, there's all kinds of other evidence that we know that the Earth is older than 10,000 years.
On the show that I can no longer get on my computer. Dan, why would you block me? I'm your friend. I'm trying to help you. Okay? Really, comparative anatomy. Does homology, the similar anatomy of animals, provide evidence of evolutionary naturalism? There's a great article on creation.com about that. And no, they do.
Jerry Bergman, we took him like to the task a while ago. He's ridiculous. Gutsit Gibbon absolutely destroyed him. Jerry Bergman is not a very reliable expert. I believe you're doing an appeal to authority there. Like, your authority is not an authority on anything really. It says that he's taught biology, microbiology, and sort of things, but I think his main degree is like in something really odd. It's not like he claims to have taught forensic science, but he doesn't really have any kind of education in it. It's very strange, you know, like, it is very strange. Yeah, so major area of study was education, psychology, biology, psychology and counseling, evaluation and research, social psychology, biomedical science, you know, nothing to do with paleontology whatsoever.
Not, okay? Does homology prove evolution? All the textbooks teach this. This is always one of the evidences they give. Well, we know evolution happened because we have similar bones in our arm to a whale and to a bat and to other animals. Yeah? Could that possibly prove, you know, same designer? Is that even, are you allowed to even think that? No, you can't think it. You'll get fired from your job. I know.
I mean, you can think that, but there's no evidence for that. While there's a lot of evidence because we have the fossils like tetrapods, sort of, they didn't just, you don't get just lobe-finned fish and then, there's nothing in between and then tetrapods with fully formed feet. It's a gradual progression of fossils that we find. I mean, you can believe that it's a common designer, but there's a lot of evidence against that. And I don't know why he's not actually addressing what Dan said in his cringiest Reddit post kind of thing. He's just, oh, it's 150k years, right? I thought it was 50. Yeah, that's even worse. But they never addressed that. I've never had anybody address the Lake Suksagama. I can't remember the name of it. Oh no, he never learns anything. He never actually adds to anything. It's all the same claims all over and over and over.
Homologous structures provide evidence that these animals evolved from a common ancestor. No, they don't. They provide evidence they have a common designer. Bones develop.
Oh, they absolutely do. And we have things like vestigial hip bones in whales and things like that. The absolute awesome one for me personally, the best one is that dolphins and other crustaceans, they have eardrums for no reason, no reason. They have the vestigial ear systems, but they don't use them. They actually use something in their head to hear vibration. It's very weird. Traditions and vestigial. So I believe it's dolphins and whales have vestigial external ear canals, but they're blocked, right? So sound actually travels through a fatty substance in their lower jaw. It basically acts as a receptor for their echolocation. But they have the actual ear canals, a very sort of vestigial and, underformed ear canals that are actually blocked up, right? So they're there, they just can't use them. Why? Right? Why? They don't use them at all, but this is what we call, sometimes when, sometimes organisms get the traits of things that they've evolved from, like they're called atavisms. Basically, humans can be born with a tail. We have the genetics for a tail. It just is switched off usually. It's not expressed. When we're born, we don't grow with one because that gene is not expressed, but it's there. So you can have a mutation which turns on fur or a tail or some of these older traits that we used to have but don't anymore. He's never addressed that. All he says is, oh, well, that's just, some kind of freak occurrence that has nothing to do with it. No, absolutely not. You can have birds like chickens that they're born with teeth. They actually have teeth coming out because they used to have teeth and do not anymore. They're called atavisms.
From different genes in different organisms. Evolutionists cannot explain this, and they seldom discuss it. The radius, ulna, humerus, carpals, metacarpals, phalanges, they come from different genes on the chromosomes. Sure, it's a fact we got 2 bones in our wrist.
So what? It doesn't matter. I don't understand why this matters. Wouldn't a common designer put them all in the same area of the gene? Apparently not. He wants to scatter them all out, but it's because genetics is a lot more complicated than that. But I don't understand how this refutes evolution. Because if a mutation happens, it doesn't matter where it happens. If it just produces something that is weak and can't survive, it'll just be weeded out. If it produces something like a lobe-finned fish gets, smaller claws on its feet that are useful, then it will survive. It doesn't matter where it is. So I don't understand what his point is about this.
Forearm, and the whale has 2 bones in his liver. Yeah. So that proves a relationship. Comparative anatomy provides further evidence of evolution. The commonalities suggest these other vertebrate animals are all related. They probably evolved from a common ancestor. This is a lie. I cover on video number 4. Lies in the textbooks. Get that series, $50 for the whole thing. Watch it, copy it.
Buy my DVDs. Buy it, copy it. I got to practice my Hovind accent. Buy textbooks for $50. You can see lies in the textbooks. No, they're not lies, and they're not the only form of evidence. This has been studied for over a century now. It is that, hey, we can see the gradual development through the fossils of these systems, of these things, and we still see, like the dolphin with an ear canal that it doesn't use, that current organisms have the remains of what they used to have in the past and don't anymore.
Send it back, get your money back, okay? Richard Dawkins said, it's absolutely safe to say if you meet someone who claims not to believe in evolution, that person is ignorant, stupid, insane, or wicked.
Okay, so this is Richard Dawkins. I think he's done some good work on evolution. I think he's also said some horrible things. I wouldn't agree with this. I don't 100%. Is that an accurate quote? I mean, it does sound like Richard Dawkins. If you meet a person that believes in evolution, that believes, does not, claims not to, that claims. Ignorant, stupid, or insane. Yeah, he's altered it slightly. Okay, so the actual thing was, it is absolutely safe to say if you meet somebody who claims not to believe in evolution, that person is ignorant, stupid, or insane. Or wicked, but I'd rather not consider that. Right, so he didn't actually say or wicked. He said or wicked, and you can see the comma that he's put in there. Or wicked, but I'd rather not say that. Yeah, so great quote mining there from Thing. But yeah, Dawkins was also a buddy of Mr. Epstein, so I'm not sure I would take Dawkins' word. But it is, I wouldn't say it is, always the case that someone is ignorant, stupid, or insane if they do not believe in evolution. But there is a weirdness to people that are old Earth creationists. It does get a bit weird. Like when they start talking about demons, start talking about, the end of the world kind of thing. It is kind of spooky. It is kind of unsettling that they actually believe that, that an ancient Palestinian's going to come back and destroy the world, or, save them and destroy the world. Or it is a bit weird. It is a bit weird.
Sounds like he's open-minded, huh? Yeah. Let's see, they have evidence. I'll blow it up for you. Evolution provides a single common language that enables biologists in all fields to share information with one another. Why is it that researchers can learn about human DNA by studying the genes of yeast?
Yep.
Humans and yeast share common ancestor. Oh, let's mix you up with some dough and see if you rise, okay?
That isn't a rebuttal that we can learn a lot about humans and development of organisms by studying their ancestors in the evolutionary fossil record, or by studying genetics, especially with endogenous retroviruses, which are viruses that have infected the gene line of our ancestors and we still carry to this day. There are some retroviruses that we have in our genetic sequence and the fish has in exactly the same place. So we can learn a lot. But, that's not a refutation. That is a quip. Oh, well, let's see if you rise. That's not an answer. That's not actually addressing the issue. That's just going, oh, well, smarmy comment. What is that? That's nothing. He's just basically going, nah, which seems to be the young Earth creationist go-to these days. No, I don't believe it. Well, it doesn't require you to. It's just, that's what we found out. Evolution is a fact. It is a fact.
Evolution is not a fact. This is Karl Popper, who believed in evolution. He said evolution doesn't even qualify as a theory or hypothesis. It's a metaphysical research program. It's not really testable science.
He actually changed his mind on that. That was not actually what he said. He changed his mind later on and said, no, because we do have these more information, it is a science. So yeah, nice quote mining again.
Julian Huxley, who believed in evolution big time. I suppose the reason we leapt at origin of species was the idea of God interfered with our sexual mores. Oh, you don't want God telling you what to do, like thou shalt not commit adultery. You don't like that, do you? Okay. Evolution is...
How about you shalt not, like, body slam your wife? How about that one? Was that in the Bible? Maybe. I hope so. How about that one, Hovind? How about thou shalt not cheat on your taxes? How about that one? I know there's one in there for thou shalt not bear false witness, and I know he does that all the time. So yeah, I pointing that out, I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I think he may have been talking perhaps about himself and maybe his friends. I don't know. But taking quotes out of context is Kent's bread and butter. It really is.
Promulgated by its religion. This is Michael Roos, professor at zoology at University of Guelph. Evolution is promoted by its practitioners as more than mere science. Evolution is promulgated as an ideology, a secular religion. A full-fledged...
No, it isn't. Like, I've asked this to Hovind before. Like, if evolution is a religion, what are they worshipping? I would say that a religion would have to have the worship or adultation or some kind of veneration of something, right? Like, we would have to venerate something. And he basically gave the answer as time. We're worshipping time. No, scientists are not worshipping time. It is really inconvenient how long it goes back and how hard it is to find things that are really old. No one's worshipping time at all, in any way. So he cannot answer what the focus of veneration is within evolution. He just says it's a religion. Well, if you take his definition of religion, anything can be religion. And I get that some people use it metaphorically. Oh, well, it's, they follow their sports team religiously. That doesn't mean it's a religion, right? Organized veneration of something. Like, it is not. And I remember Jordan Peterson sort of saying, well, religion is just the prioritization of one thing over another, which is such a useless definition. Because literally everything would be a religion. Me deciding to go and eat lunch and prioritizing that over this stream, that would be my religion. Me preferring to drink coffee in the morning and not tea, that would be my religion too. It becomes ridiculous. Like, we've got to stop going, everything's a religion, and accepting that. Oh, well, I suppose it's a secular religion. Evolution is not. Any more than physics is a religion, any more than astrology is a religion, astronomy is a religion, any more than any of these scientific disciplines are. It is so silly. Left-handed Jedi for $2 727,832 days since Jesus took a breath. Yeah, I didn't. The rapture didn't happen. Is that accurate? I wouldn't be surprised. Left-handed Jedi is pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually accurate to the time he claims it to be, which is ridiculous. Like, at a certain point, it's like you've been stood up for a date. At a certain point, guys, she's not showing up. Like, just accept it. Seriously. Like, at a certain point, stop waiting at that table. Like, the wait staff are feeling sorry for you at this point. Like, seriously, just wrap it up. You've had your meal. He's not coming. Like, seriously. I feel like they're that guy that's sitting at the table at the close of the restaurant, still waiting for their date to show up. Like, it's getting a bit ridiculous. But hey, that's just my opinion.
Alternative to Christianity. He said, I am an ardent evolutionist and an ex-Christian. But I must admit that in this one complaint, Mr. Gish is but one of many to make it. The literalists are absolutely right. Evolution is a religion. This was true of evolution in the beginning, and it's true of evolution still.
I don't know about this. Professor of philosophy and zoology? Yeah, I don't know about that. To Michael Roos, evolution is a religion. I don't think he actually said that. I don't think he actually said that. Yeah, I really don't. I think he said Darwinism might be, but that he was talking about Darwinism. Michael Rose, professor of philosophy and zoology at the University of Guelph, Canada, recently moved to Florida. He was a leading anti-creationist philosopher whose flawed arguments seemed to convince a biased judge to rule against the Arkansas Ballard's treatment bill in. At the trial, he and the other anti-creationists loftily dismissed the claim that evolution was an anti-God religion. Yeah, so he argued that it wasn't an anti-God religion. I really don't think so. I think this is a quote mine as well.
Today. So it's nothing but a religion. Evolution's a fairy tale for grown-ups. The theory has helped nothing in the progress of science. It is useless. I agree, Louis. Très bien. Malcolm Muggeridge said, I myself am convinced the theory of evolution will be one of the great jokes in the.
Yeah, so this is just quote mining. It's basically just finding people who have disagreed with it. And, you know, these aren't people that have studied it. This is a journalist and philosopher, right? Like, you can't just quote people. Because, I mean, I can quote people saying that, hey, you know, Christianity is one of the most dangerous religions on the face of the earth. It doesn't actually add to the argument. All it is just an argument for authority. You're using these people as an authority when they shouldn't be. So Muggeridge apparently was a conservative British journalist. It's just weird. This is the kind of thing that he does. He just finds people that have said something and tries to use it. Like, this isn't even a scientist. This is a journalist and philosopher. That is not science, my friend. It's really weird.
History books of the future. So Dan says, we have evidence from embryology. Dan, I'm embarrassed for you that you stupid argument. Does embryology prove...
Does anyone think that Haeckel's going to come up? Haeckel's going to come up. I bet you anything. So Haeckel basically...
evolution? No, Dan. This was proven wrong in 1874. You're 150 years behind on your science research. You call yourself Sci-Man Dan, even though your degree is in art, okay? Which is fine. You call yourself whatever you want. You see that short, Joseph, where the guy got pulled over and he said he identifies as a cat? The officer was going to arrest him. Says, well, cats can't drive cars. Changed his tune real quick, okay? Here we go. Similarly, humans and fish embryos resemble each other because humans and fish share a common ancestor.
Yes, they do resemble one another. And definitely humans have gill arches. They have the arches, and fish do as well. Ours turn into something different than the fish do. But they start with the same structures in the embryos. I'm sorry, like, Ken Hovind denies it and denies it and denies it. It is true.
Biology book right here in the corner. Really. Darwin considered this, embryology, the strongest single class of facts in favor of his theory. Haeckel called it the biogenetic law. They say they have gills like a fish. I collect science textbooks. I got probably 200 or 300 of them in here.
Yeah, okay. So they're not gill slits, right? They're arches, 4 branchial arches. Yes, but fish have the same arches in their embryos. That's what he's not showing. They have pharyngeal arches. Yes, pharyngeal arches. They're similar to what's in fish, but they are not the same. But the similarity, why are they there?
These folds of skin under the jaw of the embryo grow into bones in the ear and glands in the throat. They never have anything to do with breathing. Nothing.
Yes, but they do in fish. That's the whole point. And this is the kind of caricature that he uses, the dishonesty that he uses. Wait for the conflation here.
Seen fat folks with 5 or 6 chins, they can only breathe through the top one. Okay. Haeckel said the turning point in his thinking was when he read Darwin's book.
Hey, it's Haeckel. Prediction success. Yes. So Haeckel was accused of fraudulently drawing these embryos to look similar. problem is that we've come a long way since then, and we've photographed the embryos and they still look similar. In fact, Atheist Jr. did a fantastic thing where he got a picture of all the embryos and said, pick out the human one. And Hovind couldn't do it. He refused to do it. He won't do it because he knows that they look too similar to one another, because he's a grifter. In my opinion, he's a fraud. He knows that they all look incredibly similar, and you can't pick out the human one unless you're very familiar with embryology, but he won't actually answer that question. Just another of the long line of questions the man won't answer.
So Haeckel influenced Darwin, and Darwin influenced Haeckel, and they both together went off the rails. Here's a dog embryo at 4 weeks and a human embryo at 4 weeks.
Yeah? What's his point?
Now, Haeckel was an embryologist. He studied this stuff and taught this stuff at the university. So he faked the drawings and made them look alike. They were just pencil drawings. Dogs have 78 chromosomes. Humans have 46. So if they have external similarities, that doesn't mean a thing. Nothing.
He did not fake the drawings. He drew them, and then the creationists said, oh, they're not accurate. No, they were taken out, not because they weren't. We had photographs instead. Like, this whole controversy on Haeckel was essentially made up, right? Like, they really are similar. And he showed the dog and the human, just because they look externally similar. But why do they look externally similar? Like, why does the fish and the dog and the human all look sort of, if you don't know embryology, they all look indistinguishable from one another? It's because creationists do this thing where they will go, well, this thing looks like another thing, it must be the same, when it's convenient. And then when it's not convenient, they go, oh, just because they look the same doesn't mean they're the same thing. Well, yeah, I agree with the second one, but we have the same structures in both of them. Like, they're incredibly similar.
The first trimester. At 4 weeks, the baby's the size of a poppy seed. At 5 weeks, a sesame seed. Let's see, at 9 weeks, the baby's the size of a grape. At 10 weeks, the size of a kumquat. 4 weeks, the baby's the size of a poppy seed.
I don't know what this has to do with anything. I have no idea. Like, this is just pregnancy. Like, we understand how, mitosis and meiosis works. Like, once mitosis happens, then it starts to divide, replicating. What has this got to do with anything? It's so weird.
Your pregnancy may be detectable in a week or so. At 4 weeks along, they can already determine you may be pregnant. Now, Haeckel took the drawing of a dog and a human and faked them. He changed them to make it look. They look exactly alike. He lied.
He did not lie. They were not the most accurate, but this was the drawing in 1996, right? They are damn similar. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, what the hell? And if you look at them, like, they're not identical, but neither are those.
Took the drawing of a dog and a human and faked them. He changed them to make it look. They look exactly alike. He lied. He increased the head on the dog, or let's say the dog, and decreased the head on the human. Eye details were changed. The posterior length was doubled past the hind limb. Haeckel was an embryologist. Pencil drawings. Dogs have 78 chromosomes.
Yeah, I mean,
this is what they're still teaching in the textbooks. This chart, Haeckel's fake drawings.
No, they're not teaching this in the textbooks. Kent's a liar. He is just lying. They are not teaching these diagrams. They actually have photos of them. Like, that's the thing. It's not like he is just outright lying, and he's used this lie. He's been caught out on it. He's been told that it's incorrect. He's been asked to, what he's using is a creation ex nihilo. He's using a source that is a creationist source, right? And saying, oh, they're teaching it in schools. See? No, we're not. We actually have photos now. Why would we use drawings if we have photos? You know what I mean? Like, why would we be doing that? But no, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He will lie. So this is from a creationist source, and he's saying, oh, look, they're teaching that in school. No, they're not. That's a creationist source. We're using photos now.
1874. He made all the top ones look just alike. This is evidence. And Dan's still using this as evidence for evolution. Here's the fake drawings on the bottom. On top.
No, he's not using this as evidence of evolution. No. Okay, so those photos on the bottom, it's only the embryonic sac that makes that one look so dissimilar. And here's the thing, when Atheist Jr. showed something like this and said, pick the human one, Kent couldn't do it. Or rather, he wouldn't do it because he knows that they're so similar. And they are. Their structures are very similar.
And there's actual photographs on the bottom. He's either a lousy artist, and he was not. He was a good artist. He was a good liar. And so are you, Dan.
No, the only liar here is Hovind. This comes from a creationist source. We are not teaching Haeckel's drawings in school. It's not happening. He's lying his ass off. And you can see that the source is a creationist source. So yeah, we don't teach the drawings. We provide photos. They're still incredibly similar. If they had the same orientation, this one's a little bit uncurled, but they are still remarkably similar. Like, that's the thing. He's just selected photos that look a bit different because of the way they're orientated. And that one on the salamander one has an embryonic sac. All of them do look similar, and we proved that by giving him a choice to choose which one is the human one. He won't do it because he knows he cannot distinguish it between others. So they must be very similar if Kent can't pick the human one from other ones.
You're lying. The embryology is not evidence for evolution.
Oh, it is, yeah.
They have different numbers of chromosomes, vastly, from 25 to 104.
It doesn't matter about the chromosomes. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we progress through the evolutionary changes in embryology. That's basically what happens. It's why a human embryo has a tail which then basically gets absorbed into the rest of the body. But you can see it's got a tail. It has, like, pharyngeal arches.
14 chromosomes, 56, 78, 44. If there's any similarity at all, it's because the same God designed them.
Yeah, genetics is not going to help you with whether, proving evolution. Genetics is the smoking gun in evolution. When I asked this man about endogenous retroviruses, his answer was, ask Donnie, I don't know. Like, seriously, like, the man does not learn new information. He's been corrected on this time and time again, and he comes out with the same bullshit every single time.
How do they not get it? And he says there's the human genome. I'm sorry, stick with embryology here. Okay. Haeckel finally confessed and said, a small percentage of my drawing.
Okay, here we go. This is the lies in action. Jena University Court, right? This is something that the creationists say, hey, he was tried by a university court. So I'm amazed that he put the university in there, the Jena University, because basically there was a rumor that a student council, like a student population, convicted him in absentia, so basically without him being there, of forgery. Now, Hovind usually claims, he was convicted of forgery. No, he wasn't. Absolutely not. No. A student council allegedly did so, but there is no record of it. This record's from the university. We have challenged him on this and said, okay, provide those records. He never has. He said he'll have to go away and look at it, and he never provides it. Kent Hovind is a liar. He is lying about this. He's not actually giving you the real information. Haeckel's confession is a fervent belief of creationists. He doesn't actually, like, this whole thing, he was convicted of fraud. No. He needs to provide that evidence that it does, because the only people that say that are creationists, and they usually say he was convicted, by the state. He wasn't. Absolutely not.
Are forgeries. I had to fill in and reconstruct the missing links. Yeah. You lied, Haeckel. Okay. The biogenetic law is as dead as a doornail. American scientist. Dan, this is 1988. You're still using that argument as of 8 weeks ago. Stop, Dan. Embryology is not evidence for evolution. This 19th century drawings are still in reference books.
Yeah, no, they're really not. Like, they're really not. The only time he could find them was in creationist literature. That's why he showed it. And this is creation.com. So he's just basically quoting people that agree with him. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't know why he's doing this. It's kind of annoying. I might skip forward a bit because all he's doing is saying, hey, he was accused of fraud. He wasn't. Are you going to update or? Oh, it seems to have stopped. Did he have
Published
problems
University
or
of Chicago
something?
Press, Dr. Nick Hopwood tells the full story for the first time. He tracks the drawings and the chart.
Okay. Look, Ken Hovind is known for his technical issues. That's why he's always on the lookout to find IT people to work for free at his in my opinion, cult. Wow, okay, so the video froze at that point and it just continued onwards. Well,
It's a fraud. This would be Jenna for fraud. And the human gene.
Yeah, no, it keeps going until it just pauses and sits there. Wow, okay, well done. Well, this man is an IT master. An IT master. Yeah, I mean, I've got my IT problems, but this man has a team working on his. Like, he's got people to do it for him, and this is what we get. It's like Trump and an escalator, quite frankly. The man breaks everything he looks at. Well, that's about do it. But, you know, this Haeckel thing, yeah, it wasn't the most accurate drawings. Apparently he was in a hurry when he did them. You know, we don't use them today. We use, you know, pictures of embryos. Because we can take pictures of them. Why wouldn't we use that? But as he pointed out, oh, we're still using them today, and then points out a creationist source. Yeah, they're still going on about them. Polarity in photographs. That's because they just want to discredit anybody that suggested that embryology sort of showed that they were very, very similar. It's just sort of ridiculous. But in the early stages, they are very similar, and they do have very similar structures, and the chromosomes do not matter with that. It doesn't matter. And human embryos do have tails to start off with. That's just what it be like. That's just what it be like. But current textbooks don't use Haeckel's drawings. I will tell you that. It is just an out-and-out lie. Out-and-out lie. Well, yeah, that was one of the reasons, Beamsy. Like, his usual IT guy, Steve, stole his money and ran off for some reason. Like, but, you know, that's what happens when you associate with people that sort of, you know, you got out of prison with. Wow, okay, I was kind of want to do a bit more of this, but there's no more to do because this man cannot operate internet, apparently. But yeah, I mean, Haeckel, even when you see that, if you just curl that round, that is a different orientation, but they're very similar if you move it round, and it's very similar. And if you take away like the embryonic sacs, it's very similar. But, you know, he can't believe it because, you know, it does show in progressive evolution. And there's other stuff. I've brought up the atavisms. He wants to go to DNA. That is not his friend there. Endogenous retroviruses, if you're unaware, it just puts a nail in the coffin for all of young Earth creationism. It's just that Hovind, he kind of just projects a lot. He can't be wrong. Everyone else has to be wrong. Whenever somebody asks him a question, he says he'll go away and find the answer. He never does. Whenever anybody presents him with something that he can't refute and should know the answer, he just pleads ignorance and says, I don't know, I'll find out when I get to heaven how I'm right. You know, this kind of egotistical, well, I don't have an answer for that, but I'm sure I will in heaven. We'll just die and find out. Like, it's just the most limp, lame, flaccid response that I've ever seen in anybody. The whole idea of why pterosaurs, flying dinosaurs, essentially, flying reptiles from about the time of dinosaurs, why they're not on the top with the other birds. And he just says, well, I'll find out when I get to heaven. I don't know at the moment. Like, what a flaccid response. That is absolutely terrible. Because, he's basically saying, hey, once I'm dead, I'll get the answer and I'll still be right. Like, who does that? It's ridiculous. I mean, he could just say, I don't know. Doesn't that seem strange that the flying reptiles are not on the top with the other birds, even though they were fantastic flyers? Doesn't that seem odd? Doesn't it seem odd that the penguins aren't down with the other organisms and stuff? Why is that? Why aren't the penguins down with the fish? Like, where we only find fish. Why is it that? Why don't we find whales? Like, we know that, like, for instance, sperm whales can dive incredible depth. Why don't we find them down the bottom? Oh, I don't know. I'll find out once I get into heaven. Yeah, just an excuse. Just an excuse. Well, the Arc Center is in Kentucky, but yeah. But that's been one of my favorite lolcows, and just a nightmarish human being who is, wrong and hilariously so, absurdly so about just about everything. Ken Hovind. And it is amazing to me that anybody thinks that A, he's good at debate, or B, he's in fact some sort of genius, because I've seen that as well. And to me, that is wild. I suppose if you can think Trump's a genius, you could think anybody's a genius, quite frankly. But, who knows? Who knows why people think others are geniuses? I think he might be a cunning con man, because, he is an ex-felon. He has been convicted by bench trial of DV. He is an awful human being. And yeah, it's just terrible. But if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you think other people will enjoy this, because I've had a fun time just hassling Kent, because Kent he's one of the most absurdly wrong people. And I don't blame Simon Dan for focusing on him a little bit. It's absurd. His explanations are absurd. Saying, hey, a journalist and philosopher said this, so it must be true. My guy, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? It's so weird. But yeah, I think that nobody should pay attention to this man at all. At all. But it is fun to laugh at, and I needed to pick me up. I've had a sort of, kind of stressful week, hard week. So I love that Kent Hovind is absurd enough for me to have a laugh and just, wow. And, he didn't actually refute Simon Dan. He didn't actually refute that, hey, the things he was saying on the Reddit were actually accurate and correct, because of course he can't. He can't actually argue about Christianity. He can't argue about this stuff. He just argues about evolution. And doesn't do it well either. Probably one of the worst debaters on the planet. He's got a certain cunning, but, when you break down what he's saying, it really is a lot of straw men, a lot of deception, a lot of lying, just a lot of really false statements made. And it shows. It really shows. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, be kind to yourself. Don't listen to these people. You don't have to. Go with the scientific expertise in the field. He is a con man who, in my opinion, who is working out of a cult in Alabama. Like, nobody... He has offered to write textbooks for the government. It's hilarious just how much he thinks of himself as compared to how little knowledge he has on stuff. It's actually incredible. But take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.